Well, I think I would say that I've noticed some quite different attitudes and approaches to dealing with issues that are, I'm not sure whether they're unique to Hong Kong and China or a broader issue within Asia. Certainly the role that the family play it creates a different dynamic in terms of Asian value when I compare those to the sort of Anglo-Saxon norms that I've seen.
I think that lots of research will tell you that there's a different list of priorities amongst Asians who are surveyed from Europeans who are surveyed or Americans who are surveyed, but it's the same list. It's just a question of the order in which of priority. So I don't think there's any inherent difference, but the societies operate differently. It's always seemed to me in the United States, for instance, there is a presumption that an employee may leave tomorrow, and therefore it results in organizations with very detailed procedures so somebody can take over. In an Asian context, there is a presumption of continuity, almost of a family system of operating, so therefore you tend to find the reaction is rather less detailed procedures.
Well, I think Asians tend to do business more on a relational basis. And so the question is that when you deal on a relational basis, the so-called ethics standards may be misinterpreted. For example, if I take you out for a night of entertainment, is that permissible? For example, in Singapore, very often certain types of entertainment are frowned upon. I'm talking about legitimate entertainment between officials and non-officials. Whereas in China, perhaps it's the norm. So I think there are differences in different economies, and we have to recognize that. In the United States, although people claim relationship is less important, it's also very, very important. It's just that we don't necessarily see it. It's not so apparent. What do you think the lobbyists do in the United States? They lobby for government relationship. So I think it's a question of how relationship is developed in these economies.
That's all we have time for today. To sum up, ethics is clearly a highly complex and often contentious issue. While there's a minority who believe that businesses should not concern themselves with ethical issues, most agree that core ethical values, such as honesty and integrity, are essential to a successful business environment. Moreover, while no rule set can possibly prepare employees for every ethical dilemma they face at work, a code of conduct, or ethics, is a useful way for companies to give guidelines on expected standards of behavior. Finally, the topic of ethics is clearly a very personal one for many of our guests. In today's program, they step outside their official roles to consider what values form their own personal approach to corporate governance. This is the last program in our Corporate Governance in Action series. In this 5-program series, which is the result of a collaborative effort between the Hong Kong Institute of Chartered Secretaries and the Open University of Hong Kong, we have interviewed a wide range of people for their views on the major corporate governance issues facing us in Hong Kong and China. We have looked at how our standard of corporate governance compared to those in other parts of the world. We have discussed what needs to be done to improve areas of weakness. And last but not least, we have just explored how important culture and ethics are to the creation of a good corporate governance environment. Finally, I would like to reiterate that our intention is not to argue a particular case, but to create a forum where different perspectives of investors, regulators, financial professionals, company directors, academics, and independent corporate governance experts can be heard. I hope these programs have given all of these different perspectives a voice, and you, the viewer, an understanding of this ongoing corporate governance debate. I also hope that you find this series useful, interesting, and after all, inspiring. Thank you for watching.